And we're back. Sorry for the delay there, guys. A bit of a mess up on our end in terms of getting the lobby sorted out with the proper people in the proper slots, so we had to rehost from all pick. Thankfully, doesn't look like either team's going to run into each other. So I'll tell you what, I'm just going to shut my big trap and let our expert analyst, Ben Merlini-Wu, break down the lineups and how they seem to shape up here just before the horn blows. Welcome in again, Ben, and break it down for our fine viewers.
Well, everything is pretty standard except for the lone CK pick from TongFu and the last pick Lich from TongFu too. I mean, not that Lich is an unusual pick, but getting him last is some pretty good value that they got there. And yeah, I'm not sure why they picked CK. I don't think it's a good standalone hero, and I think the hero's win rate is pretty darn low. Yeah, as like most of the time when I've seen it is to kind of deny the CK wisp, but yeah, I just don't really see it faring that well in this particular game.
Well, as we can see, it's an interesting little stat that was popped up there. It seems like since CK as a hero when drafted with IO has seen his win rate spike fairly decently following the implementation of 6.79, but still not rarely does he fare well without an IO pick to go with him. So we've got a brief pause. Once again, I want to welcome in everyone. This is going to be our concluding game, Game 3, DK versus TongFu in an elimination match, as all matches are here in our bubble race playoff system. This is our 5 and 4 seed, TongFu finishing up in 5th place in the group stage, DK finishing up in 4th place, so they face off first here in the first round. Awaiting them will be the 3rd seed finisher. That was Vici Gaming, so whoever wins this game will have to play another best of 3 after just a brief break. That'll be coming up very shortly following the conclusion of this series. And then that'll round out our play for today. We'll be back tomorrow with a best of 5 to figure out which Asian team will be joining LGD China in Las Vegas. And then on Thursday, that'll be our Western Division finals, another best of 5 that will pit Fnatic versus Team Liquid. And Lan, I'm going to be spotted by Song. Nope, never mind. Under cover of an Invis, and Sansheng did drop a sentry right off the bat. They're pinging it out, and Lanham suspecting that's what happened. But for right now, the lanes are going to go ahead and take shape. Let's take a look at how these shape up and who's handling who. The Darkseer going to be handled by Mushi. He's actually taking the Darkseer mid. See that from time to time. Not especially common, though. Lanham's going to be playing on our Vengeful Spirit with the Nature's Prophet, handled by Ice. He's going to be going one-on-one against XTT's Clock. The DK pick going to be farmed by Burning, and Visage going to be played by MMY. Other side of the river, we got Zoe playing the support Lich. He's backing up XTT for the moment. We're going to have Sansheng back on Rubik. Sansheng had a great Game 1 Rubik, and really what led to TongFu finding themselves with a chance to knock off DK in what many would consider an upset. That CK pick, we're all a little curious about ZSMJ. He's going to be handling him, and he's currently roaming a bit, has yet to soak up a single point of experience. Moo on the bug here in mid, and as mentioned, XTT on Clock.
I'm still wondering about that standalone pick. Looks like Ice may be in a little bit of trouble on bottom. They have a war spotting him out. ZSMJ, wow, he was right about to walk in that. He did go with the boots first build. I think he expected to be on a one-on-one situation with Clockwork, which would have been really nice for them. But yeah, without that, without that one-on-one matchup, he's going to be in a lot of danger. I don't think he knows that ZSMJ is standing over there. He is sending around a Treant to scout out, though.
And Sansheng currently all by his lonesome up here at top. We will see a TP up, and that's going to be XTT moving out. That's going to free up some space here for ZSMJ to farm in the face of Ice. So liking this matchup a bit more, it would seem. And XTT certainly happy to soak experience no matter where that happens to be. But as of right now, certainly not the best start for ZSMJ. He's got 1 CS and not even level 2 yet.
Yeah, Ice is doing a decent job of harassing Zoe too, but he has to be very, very careful, especially when ZSMJ hits level 2. Then they may get a kill on him. Ice only has 530 HP. He needs to make sure he's topped at all times so that he doesn't give a free kill. XCT has to be very careful too. They don't have a Rubik, which is probably the best hero at killing a Clockwork, but yeah, it's not too bad for them at this point.
Good micro using Nature's Call to do what damage you can, try to buy some time. There's going to be the Reality Rift. Chaos Bolt there, 1 second only. MMY is there to help. The Frost Blast not enough to finish him off, and Zoe will be our first blood in return. So DK getting things going in a hurry, and good anticipation. That TP was happening just before they decided to engage on Ice.
Well, Yeah, very good rotation from MMY there. And now, I mean, they have the ward blocked over here, but it's going to despawn at 4 minute mark. And already this is not going well for ZSMJ and the rest of TongFu. They have to like rotate their lanes around. They have to, ZSMJ is not getting that much farm, and already not getting that first blood is a pretty big deal.
Burning also finding some very uninterrupted farm. He's sitting at 20 CS, and we're going to see Lanham brought back to the other side of the cogs. Could be in some trouble here. Burning going to try and make his way around. Actually, a little bit of weird collision detection there on the cogs. Sansheng, they're going to eat the magic missile, and they follow it up and get the kill. So it's a 1-for-1 at best. Could be worse as Ice is right there. Uses Nature's Call. And is he going to dive it? Yeah.
He has phase boots.
Yep, he was thinking about it. Definitely.
Yeah, and the Vengeful Spirit died to their neutrals too.
Ah, didn't even catch that. And that was actually Burning ran into the cogs. A little bit of that weird collision detection we see sometimes with the cogs. If it wasn't for that, he probably would have had enough mana to pursue him out under the tower as well. But as it stands, DK still leads 2-1.
Yes, and they are off to a pretty good start, and mid is not really anything happening there. It's just Weaver versus Darkseer both farming it up. I don't expect any kills to happen, unless maybe if Mu gets a super Knights like DD Rune, but we don't really need to watch over there. Burning, yeah, we have seen DK run Dragon Knight before, but Dragon Knight in a tri-lane, it's okay sometimes. I haven't seen it in offensive that often, but it is pretty good because TongFu doesn't really have anything that can match up with it, especially with CK and Lich being down bottom.
Yep. What I think we're going to see out of DK here is just a hell of a lot of push coming very, very quickly. The Darkseer in mid certainly going to be able to get a very quick mech up. He's going to be able to dominate that mid lane on his own, and Mushi even doing a good job of stacking this hard camp already. And that's going to be a nice infusion of golden experience for him when he does decide to take it. Yep, there's the buckler already done at 5 minutes in. So already very nice progress there. Burning sitting at almost level 5. He's finding very nice farm sitting near the top of the board. Weaver is currently sitting in the best position, but not by much. So whenever you take a look at the rest of this lineup, we'll hold that thought as Venge shows her face down here. That'll be enough to force the SMJ and Zoe back under their own tower. But when you have that early mech up on the Darkseer, you're going to have the Nature's Prophet to split push or just get a guns forward push going. Going to have Vengeance Aura, if they decide to max that, or just the armor reduction. Looks like they actually are just going with a straight-up magic missile build so far. But with Visage, once he hits 6 as well, having his familiars, it's going to be tough for TongFu to keep their towers up, even though they do have a Clockwork, a traditionally defensive hero. The Weaver, though, as well farmed as he's going to be, Mu is not going to be able to carry that load all on his own. They're going to be lacking damage in a big way because of ZSMJ's poor start.
They know that Burning is alone on top. They may try and go on him. I don't think they have enough damage. Maybe they trap him in a cog for the full duration, but it's going to be pretty close to DK's tower so they can get a TP response. Looking at the gold graph, just slight favor with DK, just pretty much first blood gold on its own. The lone cause for that 600 disparity. Vengeful Spirit doing okay in terms of levels, and MMY with that Sentry Ward finally unblocked. It will be able to get some levels, but ooh, wow, ISS gets picked off, and just a little bit overzealous play from him. They're both almost level 6 on bottom, so CK and Lich, even though they only have 1 kill, they are super high on levels due to that sacrifice.
Yep, the farm is actually beginning to catch up a bit for him as well. But yeah, that was more or less nothing but Ice being way too far out of position. Got way too far forward and got punished for it with no support behind him. He's not even going to go back to the lane. He's going to head up to top. Burning has rotated down to bottom now. He's about halfway between 5 and 6. Has some help in the jungle in the form of MMY. MMY is actually halfway to level 6 as well. And that's certainly where you want your Visage this early on in the game.
Yep, and place some wards in middle. Looks like they do have very good vision in mid. They have a Sentry Ward too in case they want to go on Mu, but Mu is level 7. Oh, they may actually go for him right now.
And up at top, Ice
with a regen.
But Ice might perhaps be engaged upon. Sansheng is slowly eating his way through the trees, looking to find a telekinesis, but Ice way down in the river. And sniffing out that something might be up. Yep, check that. Maybe not, Sansheng. Oh, reveals himself with an auto attack.
He has to leave right now. He might actually get trapped in. Sansheng's trapped.
Oh, he is. Here come the Treants as well, and he's just being auto-attacked down by creeps. Now he's going to try to take the other way out, but the hero, Treant, or the...
still trapped.
Yep. XDT.
Yeah, he's like, team, help me.
He has to TP away as Ice showed up to add some auto-attack, so... Cue the Benny Hill music. That's a wasted bit of time there.
HP on bottom. They may get a kill because of that rotation. Now it's daytime though, but I mean that was nice and cheeky, but didn't actually get him anywhere.
Yep. And Moo going to grab himself another rune. It's going to be an illusion rune this time around. And let's see if he wants to put it to use. Moving now into the jungle. They've already got 3 in position as Sansheng did rotate down to bottom. And
they got him out though.
Up here we go. There's a Dragon Tail into the SMJ following the Reality Rift. Burning looking to fall back. There's a long-range Chaos Bolt. Frost Blast is there, and Burning's in some trouble. He will end up dying under his own tower. Sansheng eats a bit of damage as well. There's going to be a hook in, though, from XTT. Now Ice locked in, and TongFu trying to take advantage of this. The mech done on Mushi, though, doing the damage it should. Too many creeps around to reliably get a lot of damage out of that Chain Frost. And TongFu going to be able to withdraw. But they certainly got the job done, and Venge actually will finally get a little bit of revenge on the Sansheng. Looks like he tracked him down back here into the trees. But nice exchange, 3 for 1, 5 to 3.
Yeah, very nice for TongFu right there. Chain Frost doing a lot of work, and they just got the jump on Burning before he could really react. And he was under the cover of his own tower, but with only 1 hero there, and that's just being the Visage. Grave Shield doesn't really deter 3 heroes from just focusing down, and they have a lot of magic damage, so his armor not really that effective here. They need level 6 on Visage ASAP, as well as Lanham. Lanham with the defensive swaps can save Burning from that sort of precarious situation, and the Visage Birds too can also save him.
And here's that push we know was on the menu. MMY not quite level 6, but Mushi with his mechanism done. That's going to be not long until Visage has his familiars out. And it's just so hard for them to weather this because of the long-range damage Burning's able to do. Just darting forward, doing what damage he can, using Ice, and his Treants to tank that tower. And they're going to fall back, mech up. And they've got an ulti. If they want to use it, Ice could also bounce the top to try and force someone to react away. And nope, going to go ahead and stick with it. But this is exactly what I predicted. This is what...
They don't have Chain Frost either. 145-second cooldown, that's really long for level 1 ultimate. And it's still 50 seconds away, so they don't have Glyph anymore with just a couple right clicks out on Burning.
Mushi going to be eating a 3-second Chaos Bolt following Reality Rift. XTT, though, going to be bursted down very quickly. Burning actually got stunned. There's a hook, and they managed to cog in, too. Vacuum into the wall, though, is right on the money. 3 were caught by it. Zoe will be cleaned up under his own tower. MMY traded away, but now's the SMJ shot his wad swapped out. Burning there with the Dragon Tail, securing yet another kill. And Moo going to try to clean this up. He manages to get a double kill out of it and might be able to pursue out Burning. And Burning spins the Dragon Tail. He will be pursued, though. And there's the Shikuchi. Lanham trying to body block, not able to do so as the Shikuchi travels through it. And Lanham's got to be careful here. Yeah, he's going to TP away as Moo does have time lapse if he needs it, and will go ahead and use it. There are the familiars doing good damage to him in conjunction with the tower, but TongFu, not as good a trade as they would have hoped for there. Didn't even get the tower.
Yeah, 4 for 4 there. And Mushi, if he didn't get off that vacuum wall right before he died, they would have lost the fight really badly.
Oh, yeah.
And Mech was almost really close to being up. Ooh, are they smoked? They're moving very fast. I looked at the minimap. Yep, they are smoked up. And the Mushi is going to get caught out. His team's not there.
Big blast. 3-second Chaos Bolt followed by the Frost Blast. Telekinesis and killed off. This tower is still standing. It's in deny range, so they will go ahead and deny it while they have time. Lanham has rotated over to mid in the meantime, and TongFu going to go ahead and back up. So TongFu is holding the line fairly well. That last engagement, DK didn't manage to get the tower, but still took a fairly decent trade, on, as you said, on the back of a last-second vacuum wall. But now TongFu may be looking to put it together in terms of a 5-man. CK with a bracer and treads. The SMJ still trying to fight his way into relevancy. He's falling behind Burning, but everyone else he's right in range of.
DK doesn't need to force the issue. Now that they have the mech and their first push failed, they can just go with Ice and just split push around the map. And just as long as Clockwork doesn't pick them off, then Ice will be in a pretty good position to just wreak a lot of havoc around the map. But they are just consistently trying to fight mid. I think that he could have just TP top, and then if someone TPs, they just take a 4-on-5 fight on mid, especially with the mech. It's just going to be easy fight for them. Let's see the mech status on TongFu. So just a buckler right now. But Ice should not be with this team right now.
And we can see DK's pretty committed to the 5-man push. And they kind of need to be. I mean, their team has a lot of flexibility, versatility built into it.
Yeah, they're pinging out. Mushi pinged out on top. He knows that ISSI should be there. There's no reason for them to fight 5-on-5 when they could fight 4-on-5.
Right.
Or either if ISSI doesn't. Oh, actually, Mu's already on top too. So this is going to be really good for TongFu. But if he had TP top initially, then it would have been much better. But the opportunity has been lost, and DK forced to farm and split up.
Taking a look at TongFu's item progression, it's going to be an earn pickup for XTT. And they're going to go ahead and smoke once again. Let's see where they want to go. They're going to go ahead, most likely loop through, yep, the enemy jungle. Midas now done. It's a very late Midas coming out on the Prophet, given he only built phase in front of it.
So dead.
And, oh yeah. Burning, how many times have we seen this series? He has no business being here whatsoever. And he's going to end up paying the price for it, absolutely. I guarantee you.
He also needs to spend his gold too, but they get a free tower out of this, so it's not that bad. Oh, it looks like Mushi may actually get picked off.
Mu gonna eat the magic missile. There's a nice vacuum, and they do manage to clean up the Weaver. Buyback immediately. They want to turn this around. Zoe will get off the Chain Frost before he ends up dropping. There's the mech as Ice tries to retreat. ZSMJ's right there behind him though, and he's blown up in response. And they're still not out of the woods. Land him right there with a haste rune, and trying to track down a couple of familiars. Only going to get, I think he got one. Definitely got, or came close to getting one.
Yeah, that was a really good trade for DK. They lost Burning, and even though they lost Burning, they killed the Weaver, forced them to buy back, killed the Lich, and got the tower. So all in all, it was pretty much a 3-for-1, I say, if you count the tower as a kill, and even with Burning dying. So they at least are making stuff out of Burning's death. Burning also needs to spend his gold too. If he bought his Gloves of Haste before he died, he would have not lost 250 unreliable gold. So he could do a little bit better job of management. But the way they're playing DK right now, it's not the way that DK's strengths lie. I think if they wanted to split push with them, they could just go on Weaver themselves.
Right. Mu might be in some trouble, has some help behind him. That'll be Zoe making his way up, and this is a big old pain train on the way from DK, and we'll see how much they want to commit to this. Again, they're pretty dedicated to the all-in 5-man push, and they have a lineup that's great at it, but so far TongFu on the whole has managed to give as good as they've gotten. And taking a look at the gold, you can actually see spiking up in favor of DK following that last tower kill, but the experience currently in favor of TongFu, so still absolutely anyone's game. But this is how they need to farm. If Burning's going to be this far up, it needs to be because his team is putting on absolute pressure elsewhere.
Yeah, and I should not be with this team too, and they can definitely just take this game a little bit slowly. Just scout them out with Observer Wars, scout them out with Nature's Prophet Treants, just scout them out with Visage Familiars, and then once they know that TongFu's in a bad position, then they take a fight. For example, ZSMV just TP bottom. This is the perfect time for them to strike. They'll smoke up and take an easy fight. It's going to be 4-on-4 at worst for DK, 5-on-4 if Ice comes, which he has TP up. He should definitely come if they have an opportunity. They should just smoke around, go behind. They see them with the Observer War 2. The problem is they can't really get the jump on Mu unless they swap him into an instant DK stun. So DK has to be right on top of him.
Burning, being surged around the back. You can tell TongFu really not liking the way the situation felt. They smoke.
They're smoking and trying to kill Ice.
Yep. They're actually moving in the opposite direction. Ice has joined up with his team now, though, and now will reveal himself. This tower does have a glyph. If they want to try to come back and defend it, they have to make their decision quick. This tower's got to be
doesn't have a TP up. They can't TP and defend.
Down it goes. Free tower taken. Good maneuvering from DK there. Zoe still looking for that mechanism. Don't know if he has any pieces up in the courier. He does not, so he's quite a ways away still yet. And DK not done. They're going to go ahead and push through. Still got about half time left on Burning's ultimate. They'll have to react to this. Walk-in or TPing in, one or the other. They have to defend. ZSMJ's right there. Only has an Ogre Club towards his BKB. And going to Reality Rift Burning, but Phantasm's there. Immediately swapped, and great hook from XTT. Burning, though, manages to get away. There's the Chain Frost coming out. ZSMJ eating some right clicks. Soul Assumption gets the kill. The Chain Frost continues. But so far, it's a 1-for-0 exchange. Make it 2-for-0 as
These
DK...
vacuum walls from Mushi are just so damn good. He had a 3-man vacuum wall in the instant swap from Lon M2. They just executed that fight incredibly well. And Burning on the front line, I mean, he is much more tanky than a Weaver pick would have done, even without any items. Like, he has Agi Dreads. He has 1100 HP and 17 armor. So they're just doing an incredible job of keeping him alive in team fighting in general.
And the map control beginning to whittle away in big ways. We can see Lanham With 3 points in the Vengeance Aura, Max Magic Missile. At this point, I mean, the DK is just hitting so hard in so many ways. And Ice, as you mentioned, doing his thing elsewhere, just continuing to farm up. He's actually going with a book, so the push going to get even stronger the later this game goes. And we can see DK has opened up a gigantic lead now in excess of 5,000.
Yeah, things are looking pretty ugly, and TongFu had a pretty decent early game advantage, but now with 1, 2, 3, 4 towers down, DK in a pretty commanding position right now. They also have the Midas advantage too, Nature's Prophet with Necro 1. Midas, DK has finished his 2. Let's see if Mushi's getting one. Nope, not going for one on him. But yeah, CK, he's nice and all if he gets the farm, but not even drums finish, no BKB in sight for him. It's going to be a while until he is able to contribute a lot. And yeah, I think that DK could have had a better pick instead of Dragon Knight with the way they're playing it, and same with TongFu. They could have a better pick with Chaos Knight with the way they're playing it. But I mean, it is nice to experiment once in a while.
And DK certainly in control of their own fate, and might be looking to make a run at Roshan now, especially if they're able to drop down this tier 2 bottom. But TongFu in total reactionary mode. They are trying to farm up Mu, and Mu's farm is actually pretty solid, now being outclassed only by the Nature's Prophet. He was actually number 1 on the board for quite some time. DK, Dragon Knight in this case, did manage to catch up and surpass CK as we knew he would, but now going to work on the tier 2 bottom. Let's see if TongFu's got it in them to try and defend. They need something to happen, and they need it to happen soon, but they don't have ZSMJ or Mu near them. And DK in a great position to just force a fight here. And ZSMJ lands in. Still no Mu. DK is yet to abandon the siege. Looks like Ice will teleport elsewhere. And the rest of them, are they actually going to back all the way? They're kind of taking their time sidestepping their way out, but looks like they're going to hang at least long enough to keep their attention.
They need to push so they can defend the T1 in time, or either just defend the T1. So if they're going to push, they need to push this wave, else they should just back off.
Mu, just about ready to start laying into this untouched as of yet tier 1 top. And it looks like they're just going to go ahead and back. There's book 2 done on Ice. He'll go ahead and TP in and try to be the one who shuts down Mu. And
Ice doesn't actually have a TP up, so Mu could potentially go on him if he knew that his TP score wasn't up, but I don't think he knows.
DK clearing out the jungle. Let's see, do they have a smoke? If they did, probably use it. They do on the Visage, but there's going to be a TP away in the meantime. So as of right now, continuing to spread the field. Darkseer does complete a Midas, coming out fairly late, 20.5 minutes in, but still has that mech up. That's the key item they needed, and they've gotten some real good use out of it so far.
Yep, gold lead 7,500. Looks like it's gonna continue to get worse too for TongFu. They don't really like CK is not a good farmer. Weaver's like okay at farming, but he went a vid booster first and he still died. So like, what is he gonna pick up with his next 3,300? A swap will break his Lincoln, so will Nature's Prophet ultimate, so will Mana Burn from the Necro books. So will a longer range Soul Assumption. There's so many things that can pop his Lincolns that Sanchang gets caught out. And
there's the Magic Missile, stunning him out. Dragon Tail was disjointed with the telekinesis, but in the end doesn't matter. And look at this perfect timing as Ice was split pushing bottom lane. The rest of them rotate after the smoke. There's book 3 complete for him. He'll be able to join in immediately if he wants to. Not that they need him to. Tier 2 down, only 1 outer tier tower remaining for TongFu. In the meantime, only 1 has really been touched for DK. That's top. They could defend this if they want. Yep, they're just going to trade a tier 1 for a Roshan. I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah, that's a good trade for them. And Lich's ultimate is usually so good in these early 5-on-5 engagements, but they have so many things that can take it. They have the Nature's Prophet Treants, they have the Familiars, they have the Illusions. Sanchang gets vacuumed down. Oh boy.
Yep. Vacuumed down and cleaned up. Roche dies, and Dragon Knight grabs up the Aegis of the Immortals. So 13-12, DK continuing to get this game out of hand in their favor, coming up on 10,000 gold lead at 22 minutes in. And TongFu looked like they had a chance to hang around, but this one already feels like it's slipping away from them.
Yeah, it really did. Once the first fight on bottom, I think, happened, and then after that, they still, I don't think, have a mech up. Lich is really close to one. Actually, he has one now, but I think it was just timing from DK, just split pushing. Oh, Isis gets caught out. He doesn't have book up.
And here comes the TPN. Going to be a bit too little too late, though. And let's see if they can get a return kill. Yep. Using the blade mail, Mu ready to turn and fight as Lanham getting a lot of damage. Mushi's right there on him. Vacuum's been back. There's a swap though, and Mu making a run for it. They are going to manage to get at least one kill as MMY locks it down, but Mu trying to Shikuchi away. Mushi guesses wrong, using his haste rune and heading all the way north while Mu cut to the east. Nonetheless, 1-for-1 trade, profit for Clock.
Yeah, CK has his BKB up now, but at this point, does it really do that much? He's pretty much the only one that's going to be able to do anything during BKB, and they don't really have any good teamfight ultimates. Like, I mean, Lich's chain frost is usually pretty good, but all these summons and illusions that can tank it makes it pretty ineffective, especially for some mech and Clockwork. He has had some okay hook shots, but at the same time, ZK just has so much better teamfight because Weaver and Chaos Knight, and as well as Lich, pretty much offer nothing in the teamfight as of this point.
DK charging down mid, looking to take down the last outer tier tower remaining, and really, not a lot TongFu can say or do about it. They're so underfarmed at this point. Right at 10,000. Behind, and CK finally has a BKB up. Finally, that mech comes out for Lich, but...
Desolator already on Weaver, so
Yep.
he has pretty good damage.
Deso, I mean, Weaver's been in decent shape most of the game. Problem is, they just have run out of map control. They really have no control over this game. And DK up, there's going to be a swap from Lanham XTT. Vacuumed out of his own cogs. Lanham throws out the magic missile to follow it up. There's going to be a hook on the Sansheng, and wow, 2 sprouts there as Sansheng spent 1 as well. He's going to try to pull back. Soul Assumption and a magic missile secures the kill. And they may rush the tier 3 here. Not seeming like they care that much. Mu shows up, Frostblast, and Deso doing solid damage to Burning. Burning does have an Aegis to spin, though. We'll go ahead and Dragon Tail Mu. Can they blow him up before he can time-lapse? They can! ZSMJ back in the fight. Burning just going to have the Aegis pop. BKB comes out on ZSMJ. There's a vacuum onto XTT. Total cluster here in the shadow of this tier 3. All the heroes fighting their way through Treants and Cogs and everything else, but in the end, another win going the way of DK. They don't manage to get the tier 3, cost them an Aegis, but they did manage to get a couple of clutch kills.
Yeah, 1 stun on Mu and he is dead, and that is a big problem with Weaver. If you can't survive these fights, you're not going to be able to carry in the late game, man. No Link has no BKB on him. He is just going to continuously feed because Dragon Knight is just going to save a stun for him, and he doesn't really need to stun anyone else just because they have Ventral Spirit for initiation, they have Vacuum Wall, and they have the Nature's Prophet Sprout. So all they need to do is just wait for him with sentries and just kill him because ZSMJ doesn't really do any damage right now with just strength items at this point. He is level... I guess level 13 at this point, so his Phantasms can do something and they don't have too much AoE, but that's really minimal compared to the items that DK has.
Yeah, the early laning phase really just put TongFu in a hole, and DK did exactly what we knew they would do when we saw the draft, which is get their guns all facing one direction and march. And they've just systematically brought down any semblance of map control thus far. And we can actually see Mu being trapped in here by the Treants. It looked like he thought about coming in.
He doesn't have any mana. They could actually kill him if they wanted to.
Yeah, the Nature's Prophet thought about coming in. In fact, here comes the rest of TongFu, making sure they protect him and suspecting that there might be some foul play afoot. But yep, looks like they are just going to go ahead and back off, farm it up, and stay safe, at least for the moment.
Yeah, TongFu, if they let DK get the next Aegis, I think it's going to be probably GG for them. But at the same time, they can, I guess, push some pressure on the map. Weaver with his Desolator can take down towers very, very quickly. And maybe if they get like a Smoke Gank or 2 on Ice, then he can't put pressure around the map. But as it stands, DK in full control of this game.
Showing 4 down mid, while Ice takes control of top. Most likely going to be a siege situation. Very slow push, trying to force TongFu to commit outwards. And this is one effective way for them to control the Roche Pit. Stay in mid lane. Make them come out onto you whenever they're not comfortable. You know Ice can show at any moment. And in fact, he shows now. And they're going to go ahead and smoke. And this could be interesting. I want to see what the goal is here. Here comes Mu. They pop it. They're unable to catch him. Not a single stun, able to come out fast.
Yeah, they didn't have a Sentry Ward. Now they do, but it was a little bit too late. If they had a Sentry Ward right there, it's almost GG because Weaver doesn't have buyback.
Nice swap from Lanham right into a Dragon Tail. ZSMJ comes in, pops the BKB and the Phantasm, trying to do what damage he can. Now moving on to Ice, but the damage output just way too high from DK, and without that Weaver's Desolator, they simply cannot touch these tanky heroes on the side of DK. And what an amazing play coming out of Lanham and Burning. Perfect swap, immediate, to the 10th of a second, Dragon Tail, to prevent any time lapse, to prevent any sort of Shikuchi. And DK on that takes a Rax and most likely secures this third game and their place in our next series of the night.
Yeah, that was just not a good item build out on Mu. The Vit Booster is okay, I guess, early game, but with hard suns like that, especially with a Necro Book, so you can't really rely on Invis, it's just way too difficult to survive. They don't have any defensive spells either, like maybe a hookshot into a cog, but they don't have anything like a defensive swap or an Abaddon, which would save them from that particular scenario. But as it stands, Chaos Knight actually has an armlet, which is pretty good farm, but DK, they're just waiting for next Roshan to respawn anywhere from, what, 2 to 5 minutes from now, and they are just really farmed now. Visage has a Scepter as well as 2,000 gold. Lanem with Phase, Drums, 4-step, and Urn. That is a ridiculously farmed Vengeful Spirit. To Darkseer working his way to Shiva's Guard. Actually already has it completed too, and Nature's Prophet with 3,800 gold on top of his Necro 3 Midas and Force.
Oh, absolutely. And right now, TongFu really can't do much but turtle and hope. And looks like DK happy to just go ahead and wait out a Roshan. Going to be somewhere between about 2 minutes and 4 minutes. 3 minutes, rather. 2 minutes and... yeah, 4 minutes, actually. I was right. So we'll see how quickly TongFu can try to assert dominance in this, but right now, DK looks like they're just going to take control. Go ahead and shove down bottom lane and not even worry about Roshan.
Yep, Visage Bird circling around, looking for Initiate. This tower has taken a little bit of damage, not really sure when, but not quite fully healed up. A couple items come out for DK right now, and yeah, TongFu is just really scrambling to hang in there.
And DK, they actually are going to back. They're just trying to keep all the lanes pushed. They got a lone Treant hanging out, waiting on the big guy to respond, and we'll see just how long it's going to take before he rejoins the party. And for now, TongFu feeling uneasy about coming out of the shadow of their tier 3. We're coming up on 30 minutes. It'll be a 2.5 give or take. Respawn for Roche, and most likely just going to be the Roshan dance. Both teams going to circle around the pit while we wait to see. Breaking it down here, I mean, let's go all the way back to the laning phase. Where exactly do you think things went wrong for TongFu? We saw just how far behind the SMJ became due to rotating around. He caught up a little bit, but what more was there to it? If you could have changed, if you were a TongFu fan and could change anything about the first hold on move, going to be Orchided out. Do they have the damage? They very well might. Nope, there's the time lapse and a little bit of greed from Ice ends up getting him killed.
Yeah, if I were to go back to the laning phase, I would put CK in the farming position because he doesn't do that well without levels. They could have put Lich up there if they wanted to, and I'll put Weaver to pressure. I guess they put Weaver in mid. They could have put him on the bottom lane or Clockwork down there. It doesn't really matter. I don't think shutting down Ice was their main priority. They really just needed to secure ZSMJ's early farm.
And so far, the farm, well, Gold Graph is what it is. Coming up on 20,000 now in favor of DK. And about 7,500 experience. DK is actually playing this ultra safe, not even crossing the river nearly as much as you would think.
They are playing it super safe, as you say. And yeah, Roshan respawning in about a minute's time. Visage Familiars there to scout it out.
TongFu going to try to make a run at it. This is going to be their final real chance to make something happen. We see DK did have a ward down, so they know that TongFu is circling ground zero, and they're going to go ahead and try the old end around, the old okey doke, coming around through the secret shop. Let's see if they can catch out Zoe. Zoe and XTT both hanging around, and there's a swap immediately onto him. Easy kill, and that's a godlike streak going the way of MMY, who, honestly, his Visage is just so sick good. It seems like every time we see MMY on Visage, it turns out this way. 11-2 for him. Scepter, 4-staff, and 1,200 gold on top of it. And DK, ready to go ahead and push again. Roche's actually going to spawn just as they're crashing against the tier 3. And the ultimate pop by burning, so don't know that they'll back off. We are going to see, yep, an attempt on the stun. There's the SMJ caught with the Dragon Tail. And they do manage to get a courier kill in the meantime, so ZSMJ pops a Phantasm. XTT in trouble, cleaned up, and ZSMJ has to retreat through the wall, and he just doesn't have the wherewithal to really know what to do in that situation. That'll be the GG. And San Sheng and company, as he falls, so does the ancient DK, who had to win 2 in a row to keep their D2L hopes alive here in the Eastern playoffs. Manages to do so. They send TongFu home packing in 5th position, and they'll advance to meet Vici Gaming in our last series coming up next here in our Eastern Bubble race. Great performance out of them, and they really just took control and never looked back.
Yeah, I didn't particularly like TongFu's draft that game, but still very nice performance from DK in the games that they won. They really picked it up since game 1, though.
Yeah, game 1 was really just a snow job. DK kind of got run over, for lack of a better way to put it. TongFu's just one of those teams. I mean, I talked about it a bit looking back at their record through the Eastern playoffs and such. They're a team that when they lose pretty. As pretty as you can, I suppose. This is another series like that. They end on another 2-1. I want to say they lost, like, of their 4 losses, I want to say all of them were 2-1 losses. So this would make, like, 5 in a row throughout their entire appearance here in the HyperX D2L, where they lost 2-1. So a lot of bad breaks for them. They did make it into the playoffs, but going to be sent home in 5th position, and I'm sure we'll see them back next season. But DK, for now, keep the streak alive. I'm sure we'll give them a little bit of a respite after such a long best of 3. Now they got to follow it up with another one, and they're going to be tested by Vici Gaming, who got the best of them in D2L group stage play in the East Division. So DK going to be looking for a little bit of revenge there. 32 minutes, 47 seconds, the official game time, 23-15. The final kill score. Another standout performance for MMY, finished 11-2. 0-3 on Mushi's Dark Seer, but as you said, his vacuum walls really were a huge catalyst in turning around a lot of those fights that were not going their way in the first 20 minutes. 0-7 on Songchain's Rubik, so had a great Rubik in game 1, not so good here in game 3. Weaver, played by Moose, 7-4 for him, but not a good clockwork game for XDT. He finished at 2-5. Yeah, actually, last 6 D2L series all went to 3 games. They only won 1 of them against Rising Stars. So glad to know. Thanks again to Haz, our stats man, for making sure I'm not talking totally out of my ass. Again, 32 minutes, 47 seconds. The game time, 23-15. And we're ready for our next series in just a few moments, folks. I'm your host here in AC Chambers. Once again, thanks for being a part of the broadcast throughout the day. Been a long day. Me and Conrad and company and Ben and the Haz was here. He was actually doing other things. We were all here starting at about 7:38 in the morning. Ready to wind things down for you now with our last series. It's going to be our number 3 seed taking on our number 4 seed, DK and Vici. Again, looking to play their way into the grand finals of our playoffs for their chance to best Invictus Gaming in the match. I think it's Invictus Gaming trying to punch their ticket to Las Vegas. So stick with us, guys. We'll be right back here. We'll probably give them 5-10 minutes to take a quick break, but we will be back with our final series of the night in just a few moments. Stick with us.